Welcome to a new tutorial. Today it's time for the UV unwrapping part for our character. First we apply the mirror modifier and then we go to the UV editing layout, and when we select everything we go to UV and unwrap. Now we get this strange artwork here because we have unwrapped our character without any seam. At first, if we want to make a clear texture for our character, we have to cut our character like a t-shirt. And that's what we do now. Now we go to the edge mode. And first I want to turn on the shortcut keys. And now we cut our character. We start here on the neck and select all the edges here. Go to UV and mark seam. And now when we select the character and unwrap it again, you can see here we have two parts here because we have a seam. We have cut the head from the body. Okay, but this is not enough. We need much more. We have to cut all the body parts to make a good and nice texture. And then we select all the middle edges here on backside from the character and mark a seam there. You can see it much better. You can turn on the wireframe mode. UV and mark seam. And all the parts, they are separated with a seam. I can show you that. We can now select and we can hide these parts, okay? To have a much better workflow. Let's go back to the edge mode. And now we make a cut on top of the head. Let's have a look. This loop here. Select. And the eyes we uncheck because the eyes we don't want now. We make another seam around the eyes later. Go in front view and delete this part here. You can make a close up here and mark seam. And now we make a seam around the eyes. But I see these edges here we can delete and clear the seam. And select the parts here around. Also the other side. This one. and around the eye here. Mark seam, and in the other side. Mark seam. And it already looks great from the head, but now we have to mark a seam. We have to cut out the inside part from the mouth. We select the edges here, mark seam. Now with L here we can select the inside part from the mouth. And then when we select the head, it looks great. And now that looks great. Now we continue with the legs. Go to edge mode and select the edges here around. Now I got it. Same thing on the other side. Mark seam. And then we select all the edges here in the middle of the back side. We can do it easy like that. Select all the loop around and then just delete the part in front. Now this part here. But that doesn't look good. We make just this part here around the tail. And then this part here and mark seam. Then we can select this part here. Here. And on the right side also. Mark seam. So, and then select this part here. Mark seam. The part here around the feet from the left and the right. Mark seam. And the toes. Mark seam. On the other side. And mark seam. And then here, the part from the toes here, along. And here, on the tip of the toes, this little part. And mark seam. Here the edges in the middle between the toes, on top and on the bottom, and mark seam. Here also in this part. Mark seam. Now we select the edges here around the arms and shoulder, and here on top of the shoulder. Mark seam. The hand here. Select. Mark seam. And then here, the part along the arms. See, we can unselect, and also this part here on the hand. And mark seam. Then the thumb here. Same thing like we did with the toes. Mark seam. The fingers. Mark seam. And here the part along the fingers and on the fingertip around. mark seam. Same thing here on the left hand. And mark seam. Same thing here on the thumb. Mark seam. Now here the tail. Alright. And now with a UV test grid, we will check how our texture will look like. If you want to add a lot of details on your character, you have to be sure that you get a clean result and not distorted on many parts. Our character becomes a lot of fewer later, but some details we need. First we create a new picture here, a new image, and call it Sid UV Grid. The dimensions we can multiply with 2. And here UV Grid. And now we get this image here. And now we have to connect this image to our character. Go to the shading editor here. And give him a material. Call it Sid. Add a new image node, and here we choose our image, connect it. Now you see we get this UV grid on our character. Now we can see a lot of black and white squares here on our character. And here where's the nose, there you can see that the squares are much bigger there. And this is not okay, because we need a lot of details there on the nose, because on the nose you don't have fewer. Go here, display stretch and area, and you can see here the blue and the green parts here are looking good, perfect, and the yellow parts that turns into red are not good. You can see here the part inside from our mouth. It is not good, but it's not problem, because we don't need details there, okay? So this isn't, we don't need to change anything there inside of the mouth. But the nose, you can see, here we have to fix this problem, okay? And here also something with the hands we have to change. Now we select everything. All the head. But first go to the face select mode, and I turn on the shortcut keys. And now you can see here we can move around the polygons to make the adjustment, but can do it much better, much easier. First rotate the head, so like that. We select only this one polygon here on top, go to UV and go to pin. And now, see here, when we move around this polygon, nothing happens, but go to live unwrap. And now you see when we move around with G, you see how it changes there on the head, okay? And let me show you how we can fix this now. Select the polygons on top here, and also here on both sides and on the bottom here. And when we scale now, you see something changes now. But it's not the result that we want. So select the polygons here on this area and scale. And then the polygons here with G and this part here. Now you see how these areas are changing. You don't have to be perfect, but the crossing between the areas must be looking good. And not from blue into red, not from green into red. And let's scale this part here. And now it looks much better. And so you can fix this UV stretching. Just try it out a little bit to find the best way and the best workflow for you. Now we select everything and unwrap it again so that it looks clean. If you're really interested in how to create amazing characters in Blender by the right way, click the link in the video description to join a live webinar where we create a character together and bring your skills to the next level. If you found this tutorial was helpful, then give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video. Bye!